AM 560. The Answer.
As you know, I teased the guest. He was doing a television spot. He's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. The 18 years, 30 trillion and counting is the money that was financing the communist revolution we are now subjected to. It's the money that was financing the most nefarious actors around the world that were smart enough, and I mean smart enough, to have picked a political party that was built on corruption, that exists on corruption, that made all of the players very, very rich. It isn't just the Clinton Foundation. It's this crime syndicate of the Obama administration, which is an offshoot. And the dumbest of all dumb. The dumbest of the all dumb.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Has that ever really been addressed aside from being a fantastic clip? I mean, so much of what he did was an indictment of what we were witnessing in real time. I don't just mean the fact he was an absolute moron suffering from a mental inability to think or talk or reason. I'm talking about what he represented before he lost his fracking mind. Not that you can't have fun with the fact he lost his mind.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
At least the future will laugh. They have plenty to laugh at. But when they wrap their head around the money that is stolen in the most ridiculous ways, the bills that were passed, all illegitimate, I wonder if they'll figure out it was a conspiracy that included even the small two-bit hustlers like Ayanna Pressley and her scumbag husband. $2 billion. $2 billion. That's 2,000 million.
This squad member is having a very bad, no good week. Ayanna Pressley's husband miraculously got the winning bid on a $2 billion contract in Massachusetts, and the corruption stinks to high heaven. A couple of weeks ago, the state awarded Presley's husband and his associates a $2 billion contract to build and run a courthouse, which they are then going to rent back to the state for 40 years. That alone is ridiculous. Anyway, in the middle of the bid evaluations, one of Presley's husband's associates was appointed as the head of the Massachusetts Convention Center Authority. This is a conflict of interest that's required by law to be reported and flagged, but mysteriously, no one evaluating the bids ran that one up the flagpole.
It is an organized crime syndicate. This is not a political party. It never was. At least now it's out of the closet and open. And why try these scumbag murderers anyway? Did anybody pay attention to the lame duck time that the auto pen was working and the thieves and the communists and the Marxists that made up the Biden administration was releasing scum on us? You think it's only in Cook County?
Ms. Orrier, if I could just turn to you. You were President Biden's pardon attorney, is that correct?
I was the Justice Department's pardon attorney.
You made clemency recommendations to the White House whether or not to pardon inmates, is that correct?
My job was to make clemency recommendations.
And in that capacity, you recommended that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, grant clemency to all 40 federal death row inmates, all of them, clear them out, correct?
Sir, as I told Chairman Grassley, I'm not free to discuss the recommendations.
Well, that's what your memo says. I mean, we have your memo. Your memo of November 4th, 2024 says, and I quote, disparity and undue severity of sentence, which are present in many, if not all of these cases, have been recognized as grounds for clemency. And you went on to recommend in that memo and a series of other memos that are now recorded and public record that the President of the United States grant clemency to murderers, rapists, and the most horrible offenders, all of them, clear death row completely out. I'm amazed you've been called here today. I'm absolutely amazed by it. But let's just talk about the people who you recommended. You talk about honoring victims. The people who you recommended get clemency and live at the expense and sufferance of taxpayers for the rest of their lives. Let's start with Dylan Roof. Dylan was a neo-Nazi who murdered 9 African-American worshipers at a Bible study in Charleston, South Carolina, 2015. Do you remember this case?
I do remember it very well.
I would hope you did. Here's his victims. You want to look at them? There they are. 9 of them. at a Bible study in a church, killed in cold blood. The DOJ knew from day one that he had decided, I'm going to quote from the prosecutors, decided to attack African Americans because of their race. He further decided to attack African American worshipers in a black church in order to make his attack more notorious. More notorious. And yet you recommended that he be granted clemency, live at the expense of taxpayers for the rest of his life, substitute your judgment for that of the American judicial system. Do you stand by that recommendation today?
Sir, I'm not going to comment on the recommendation.
I just want to pay attention as they play the race card.
The president has always been intimidated by the intellectual prowess of black men. And so, of course, he would speak in those petite and puerile terms.
Intellectual anybody doesn't vote for Democrats, only the scum. The scum and the recipients of corruption. That's who votes Democrat. Intellects understand what they really are and what they've always been. Tom, Blue Island.
Hey, Sean, dittos. Great interview with Dershowitz. That was
thank you.
Interesting to hear those two opposite viewpoints actually get some common ground.
We have never voted or supported the same candidate ever, and I think he is the last intellectual, and I mean this, intellectual person to ever vote Democrat in America. But go ahead.
So, Sean, I appreciate that the last few days you started the show covering 2020, the stolen election, and so many talk show hosts, they bend over and they twist themselves into a pretzel to call it rigged as opposed to just calling it what it was stolen. And in the news, at the top of the hour, the news the news report, the lady said how she's hoping the Republicans are hoping that President Trump doesn't want to relitigate the 2020 election. I hope he talks about it for an hour, because what help are they?
Well, the Republicans don't matter. It's the cowards that want him to not mention it. That's the other thing. It is the coward that doesn't want to discuss truth versus a lie. Liars are always cowards. That's why they tell you that Illinois has a balanced budget and that Democrats are politicians and not thieves. Carl, LaGrange Park.
Yeah, my daughter just turned 16. I brought her over to the driver's license place in Lombard, and whose face did we see on the wall?
Oh, don't say it. Is it Silky G? Silky G was up there all greased up?
He's a scumbag. Remember the Broadway Bank?
Oh, do I remember it? It's a miracle that, did you know what happened to the brother? The brother who was really the brains. He's the one that can read. The brother who orchestrated the real scandal. He went on to work at the Bank of Mellon to this day in New York. He's even a quadruple powerhouse of Silky G. Silky G is just a king in the sewer of Chicago, which is no big deal. Wow. I mean, after all, the illiterate dailies. The reasons you still have exit sign inside rooms are the dailies. They could come back and win again forever. So I feel your pain. And you know, Carl, it was something. I was at the DMV, right? And I'm like, oh, this is going to be terrible today. Terrible. It was a wonderful experience. The people were all nice. And I would see the young kids come in with their parents. And you see the difference in the character of people who are raised under a climate of the rule of law, of honesty and integrity, versus when you have to bump elbows with the Chicago Democrats scourge and their products. It's really something. I feel for you, babe, but that's all right. You tell your daughter. Just a matter of time. You make sure her life goes outside of these Democrat areas. Yeah,
but she had no idea who he was. I said, we got her license today. I said, get his name off.
You know, Carl, I'm going to tell you, my friends and I, we were having this conversation. None of us ever told our kids, you got to do this, you got to vote for that. We just talked honestly and openly. In my neighborhood, nobody talks to a kid like a kid. We talk to them like adults. And two or one of us, we don't have one moron scumbag communist for offspring. So I appreciate it. Good luck, Carl. You get her out of there. Get her out of there. It's dangerous. If it isn't the Islamo-Nazis, it's the illegal aliens driving drunk. They were on a frickin' burro. Poor Alexei gave him a license just the other day.
We've seen this from MAGA grifters time and time again.
So is Mr. Abrams a MAGA grifter? Is Gorman a MAGA grifter? Who's a MAGA grifter? Are the victims or the kids who are raped by your filthy illegal alien Trens de Agua? Big scandal in the CWB Chicago. It turns out all the warnings of the Trens de Aragua scum illiterate gang with those simpleton morons that make it up, the drug dealers and the murderers and the rapists. All those warnings were completely legitimate as the Venezuelan government, Venezuelan media, tried to contact our media. What were you doing? We got nothing news. WGN with Larry and Carol Burnett. What were you guys doing? You were busy? You didn't want to report it? How about Paul Lisnick? I tell you, I knew once he got that day, which will be celebrated in perpetuity on my show, Squirrel, he was going to cover up the scams after all. Covered up the mafia for years, his whole career. Just like Andy Shaw. His daughter's a big-time judge appointed under Joe Biden. You remember Joe Biden? I think was Joe Biden, did he sing Happy Birthday? Was that to Andy Lisnick? Or Andy Shaw? Was that to Paul Lisnick? Was that to Shaw's daughter? Who was he singing Happy Birthday?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
To every red scumbag who pretended he won the election.